Okay, here we are, we're in my kitchen, and we're going to be making a dish here that just about anybody can make, that's, even without any baking skills. And let me tell you, I'm learning as I go, but without any ado, I just want to go ahead and show you a trick on this. Now what I'm going to be making, I'm going to be using this Jello no-bake cherry cheesecake mix. This is one of those that you just put in the refrigerator, let freeze after you mix it up and everything. But what I'm going to do, what I'm going to change about it, is I am not going to make the crust. I bought one that I pre-made because I want to use Hershey's, the cookie, the chocolate cookie thing. What is that called, man? The Oreo cookie crust. And so, and instead of using, it calls for right here, it calls for 1.5 cups of cold milk. Well, I'm not going to use milk. Instead, I'm going to use heavy whipping cream right here. Now, what that does is that just it's going to make it fluff up much better, and it'll be just more fluffy and not quite as flat. Because if you beat this and add a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons of powdered sugar with some vanilla extract, that's what you're going to have. You're going to have whipped cream. And what I would normally do is I would mix that with some cream cheese, unflavored cream cheese, and about half, and it's warmed up, about a half of a whole stick of it, and to 1 cup of this, and you're going to have some really firm, nice, tasty, kind of a sour Cool Whip, but it's thick, and that makes a really nice pie topping that you can put on a cake or a pie or something like that. But you'll see as I blend this, it's gonna show the results real quick. I've got my bowl right now in the freezer. I've had it in there for about a half hour. I'm going to take it out, and then I'm going to go ahead and just put the mix that came with the cake right here. This is the mix, the pie filling, in other words. And I'm going to go ahead and mix that with just 1.5 cups of this heavy cream, and do the same blending. It's blend on. Start out with slow for about a minute, and then you go up to mid speed for about I believe it's 3 minutes. So let's see. Filling mix and mix with mixer on low speed 30 seconds. Then on medium speed for 3 minutes. Filling will be thick. So that's what we're going to do. So it's probably going to be a little bit, maybe not quite as thick, but much lighter, and with the whipped cream. Okay? So let's get started. I'm going to grab the bowl out of the freezer. You don't have to follow me to do that. Be right there. And I've got the Oreo cookie crust that I was speaking of. It was in the freezer also. Okay? I'm not getting paid by these people to market their product. I'm just showing you that's what's on the shelf. So now this is the pie crust. I'll save it for later because that really is a delicious pie crust. The way they tell you to do it. I'll make it and freeze it and use it for a pie, maybe like an apple pie or something like that. Alright, let's take it over here. And my holder for these such things. Alright. Believe in keeping a clean kitchen, an organized kitchen, man. It makes it much easier to do any kind of baking or cooking. At least it does for me. Okay. Now, let me make sure I got that bowl. Okay, it's right in the center. Beautiful. Okay. So, let's put in our, normally I'll just go ahead and go with put my heavy cream in first. Cup and a half of that. Cup and a half heavy cream. So, cup and a half. Uh-oh. Just pull it over the side. Cup and a half. I like to try to get as accurate as I possibly can on these measurements. I have found that if you stick to the measurements pretty close, you're gonna get the same. You're gonna get to the results, same results every time, and that's what they expect you to get. They're giving you precise measurements for precise results. Or they probably tested it over and over and over, and that's how it came out. go ahead and put that in that cold bowl. Remember, I just took that out of the freezer. Okay. We'll run some water in that so that it doesn't have time to set. Rinse it out real quick. Excuse me. I want that cream to set in that. I'll put this back in the refrigerator so that it doesn't catch too much warm air. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add our cake mix. Our filling mix. And I'm not going to worry about putting this in all at one time because I know from many times I've done this that it's just going to go ahead and mix in okay anyway. I will go around the outsides though because the mixer will pull it in. There we go. Now the heavy cream is the only thing that we've changed in this recipe so far. The next thing will be putting it into the Oreo pie crust instead of that one. So I'm just going to take a regular hand mixer right here, turn that water off. I'm going to put just this single whisk into the thing. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot more fancier ones you guys use out there, but this one I like. It's nice and convenient. Okay, 30 seconds. It said go slow. So we're right at that, okay. Ten seconds. I can already feel that getting thick. That's 30 seconds right there. Okay, now we'll go to medium. You might have to add a little milk to this to loosen it up. Because I got to get that 3 minutes out of it. And that'll be exactly midnight in 3 minutes. I have to speed it up a little because it got some resistance. That up a little because the drag is making it, the thickness is making it slow down. Now, I know a lot would be tempted to stop at this point, but it's just because I put that heavy cream in there instead of milk. The natural tendency of this pie mixture would have been to thicken a little bit, and that, as that heavy cream is turning into whipped cream, it's going to make it loosen up as it forms its whipped cream. So you just watch. You can see it's already starting to lighten up and fluff up. That's what we want right there, but it's still too soon to stop. We got 50 more seconds to go. It'll get even better. Even though I did have to speed up my mixer above. Right now, it's almost on high, but this is a cheap little mixer, so you know it doesn't have all the wattage that a good mixer would have. I mean, I say good. It's good enough. I've been using it for years. Yeah. So I don't want to talk that way. way. Come on now. Got 10 more seconds to go. We'll have 3 minutes in it. And it's looking real good. I love that texture. Look at that. That's without bacon or anything. Okay, I'm going to let this come out. Slow it down. Raise it out there. Get it cleaned off. Okay. That's the best part, licking it clean. Believe me, that is already delicious, and those flavors haven't even completely married yet. That whipping cream gives that ordinary pie mix right there. It just does. It does all the benefit. You just can't imagine. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Huh? Look at that. Take your spoon. Look at that. It just comes right away from there. Beautiful. It's almost like bread dough. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Now we're going to take our Oreo crust over here. Get it prepared and ready. Hold on for me for just a second. I should have had that done. You wouldn't have to tolerate me doing this, but I didn't. So, and you just have to stand there with me. I should have some music playing in the background. I have some wonderful Hans Zimmer. That's good, relaxing music to listen to when you're in the kitchen. Keeps your mind off your stress. I'm going to save that label underneath there because it always has a good recipe underneath there. I'm going to check that one out. I haven't seen it yet. They put these labels down with hot glue, and if you're going to present your pie on the table with this kind of thing, you need to get that hot glue off the lid. It takes a little more troublesome, you know, a little time there, a few minutes, a few seconds on each one. But it doesn't look like somebody blew their nose on the pie cover, for crying out loud. Or, you know, whatever else here in this day and time. Anyway, gotta worry about that presentation, right? This won't last long enough to worry too much about the presentation, I guarantee you. We're going to just spoon this in here. Little at a time, get off of there. Boy, that's thick. That's okay, that's not too thick. You might get tempted to say, oh, that's too thick, but it's not. When I spread it out, but I still got some topping that's got to go on here. Some cherry topping, and then some whipped cream. I'm going to take some of that heavy whipped cream and make some whipped cream to go on top of this yet. So just hang in there. We ain't even close to counting calories yet. I didn't say that this was, you know, something that was going to help you lose weight. Nope, we ain't going to be trying to do none of that. Not trying to conserve weight here. I should. I'm saying this even say that I'm diabetic and this is the way I cook. I tell you the honest truth, I have a couple of neighbors that elderly folks that close to the church, and that we belong to the church, real close to me. One lives right underneath me. That I share my recipes with quite often. My hands are just washed and disinfected, so please don't think that he's using his fingers. My hands are washed. Not gonna lick them yet though. Okay, gotta push this down. Let's get it moved into it. Let me move this bowl out of the way. Still cold from the freezer. Means I can clean it later and clean the spoon and won't have to worry about it being melted. That looks beautiful. Don't you love the color of that, man? I love the color of that. That's beautiful. Got a nice yellow kind of it. It's beautiful. Kind of like butter. Really good butter if it's just been first turned. You know? You guys ever churn butter when you were younger? When you were a little boy? When you were little? Little babies? Pretty much? churn butter one time with my grandmother. I remember that. My grandmother lived to be 94. My mother's 96. Well, women live long on my side of the family. Men don't last as long. They tend to be a little bit harder on themselves. But I'll tell you one thing. All the men in my family, except for my Uncle Leon, I believe, could all cook. I had an aunt that lived over in the hills, close to O'Brien County, or in O'Brien County. Her name was Aunt Juanita, and man, whew, man, she could cook anything. And my grandmother was an excellent cook, and so was my mother. My mother could bake, so could my grandmother. My grandmother had one of them old baking stations in her kitchen, you know, right by a wood stove. And if my grandmother's house was still standing, I bet every one of y'all would know what it is. I can't even think of the corner that it's on now, but the one that had columns all the way around it. I know some of y'all know, I don't even have to tell you. But boy, my grandmother taught me how to cook in there when I was young, and in our house out on the Billy Shaw place back in the day. My Uncle Leon was like a straw boss on that farm. So they lived in the big house, and my grandmother had a big kitchen in the back with a pump in her kitchen. And I would help her on Sundays get Sunday meals ready. Okay, so all we got to do is that. So we added a cup and a half of heavy cream, the mix from this Jello deal, a pre-made Oreo cookie crust. Now I'm going to put that in the refrigerator, not in the freezer, but in the refrigerator while I make now some whipped cream, and the cheese filling will go on that after I just put it in the refrigerator again for a little while, because I want that to firm up so that cheese filling right there will not go into that. And I've got that cheese filling in the freezer, not in the freezer, but in the refrigerator getting cold. So now I'll take this and put it back in the refrigerator. But I'm going to put the lid on because I don't want it to dry out. So I'm going to put that in the freezer for just a few minutes while I make the whipped cream. Now I'm going to take the heavy cream again, right there. I'm going to put it in this little bowl right here. It doesn't need to be any bigger than that. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use that bowl that I just made the pie. I'm just going to leave it all like that, and it'll just pick it all up, hopefully. Put a little flavor in the whipped cream. Now we're going to take 1 cup of this right here, and I had that rinsed out. That's ready to go. It's all ready to go again. Keep bumping in the camera, but I got the camera kind of right here in my way so I can have it right over the bowl. What good is you can't see what's going on, right? Okay, now I'm going to take, this is just from a recipe that I remember from on the smaller container of this particular brand of, which you get at Walmart, heavy cream mixing, whipping cream. It actually has the recipe for making whipped cream, but on this one, this size, it don't have it. So I gotta remember it, which I think I do. Get these out of the way. Okay, we're gonna start with 1 cup of heavy cream. This is just gonna be whipped cream from the top of that. I should have not mixed so much, but now I've already done it, so I'm gonna leave it. I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. I keep powdered sugar handy, and I have a baking station over here. I'm going to show you that before we leave the kitchen. But put in 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Now this is what I usually sprinkle on funnel cake when I make it. I love making funnel cake. I love the thing. I freeze them, keep them in the refrigerator. Don't ask me why why I'm not fatter than I am. But I take my dog out to the woods, and we walk the trails out there, the hiking trails next to the river and everything, and lakes, and a big state park about 3-4 times a week. And we really get the exercise out there. It's good for both of us. Okay, 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Gotta be powdered sugar. Okay. I took an old allspice container, cleaned it out real good, and I filled it up with powdered sugar so that I could sprinkle it on donuts and cakes and all that stuff. Just a handmade rig. I'm trying to find the vanilla extract. I should have had all this out, but I don't. I apologize. Excuse me. All right, we're going to put a teaspoon of vanilla extract into this. Could go, yeah. We'll go. You know what? We're going to go a tablespoon. Want to get that vanilla taste. Shake it up a little. I'm going to go with a tablespoon. That's good enough. That's good enough. A little more. Can't go wrong with vanilla extract there. Okay. There we go. Now, we're going to do the same procedure on this that we did on the whipped cream. Only this time I'm just going to do from feel and experience and just the thickness and watch it thicken up, you know. Here we go. Now this is what was going on the last time with the pie mix, but this is much lighter, but it will thicken. Delicious. Alright, that's pretty whipped up. Look at that, see? I'll just keep doing it. It'll just keep rising. A little bit thicker and thicker, but it's whipped up real good. Let's stop with that now. Okay, that's that. Getting the benefit of being the chef. Okay, now at this point right here, the whipped cream needs to set just for a little while. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and let it cohese. Then I'm going to bring out the cheesecake that's in the freezer right now. I'm going to take it out of the freezer, put it in the bottom of the refrigerator, and let it just set while this is setting. And then I'm going to bring all three out, the pie, the cheesecake itself in the pie crust, on the cherry filling, and I'll spread that on top. As soon as I spread that, then I'm going to put this whipped cream on there. Or I might blend the cherry into this and then put it on top of that pie. I haven't really decided. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I think I'll just I might make a bag, a pastry bag. Just take a plastic bag and make a pastry bag, and then just put this in little swirls around the edge of the pie after I put the cherries on. We'll see. Won't be nothing to it. I could actually be doing that while I'm talking. So, I'll go ahead and put this in the refrigerator, let it set. I got big old bowls of soup and chili and stuff frozen up, prepared and freezing in the refrigerator. So, what we've done is we've taken this simple cherry pie mix right here, and we've made ourselves a really, really rich and fancy cheesecake. And I'm telling you, you're going to be surprised how good it's going to look and how good it's going to taste when it comes out of there. So all we did was just switch the heavy cream over to, the milk over to heavy cream, and then make ourselves some whipped cream from the heavy cream and add that on top of the pie. So now what we're going to do, we're going to make just a pastry bag real quick, and all you have to do that. There's so many ways you can do it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little old plastic bag, because they can take a lot of that. I'm going to put this stuff in there, and I'm going to grab a hold of it after I get it in. So I don't want it going over this way and getting away from me, and going over that way and getting away from me, but I want it to stay right there, where when I squeeze it, it goes out. Now how would that do that? Let's see. Okay. If I limit where it can go over there by folding that over and taping it, that will make a cone, and then come over this way and do it. I can actually keep the thickness of both layers of plastic, have myself my little pastry hole, and it'll make its own size. It will, if you don't tape it all the way down. You watch to see, it'll make its own dispenser down there. If it don't, I'll take my scissors and clip it off right there. But other than that, I'm just going to take some tape, and I'm going to tape it down the side, and that's going to be my pastry bag. Bet you thought I was going to put it inside, didn't you? I know what you was thinking. Still, probably might be the best way to do it, but I'm committed. I should be committed. Hope I can get enough in there. Alright, let me see. Where do I keep the tape? I normally keep some here in the kitchen. Normally, you should not have more than one junk drawer, but I never listen to my own advice, so I gotta go find my tape. I'll probably edit this out. I found it. In my project room. These are why these videos, see, stuff like this, why you have to edit your videos, because otherwise, you know, who wants to sit here and watch you fooling around with making your own pastry bag. I mean, that's silly. To think anybody wants to watch that. Anyway, here we go. We're going to take this like that. We're going to maybe it'd be better if I try to make it to this side first. That will give me a good little bend right there. Bring him over here. Get him right across there. Right there. I'm gonna stay over. That seals the edge along there. Come back over here. Get that reinforcement just like that, but I don't want that. I'm going to cut it right here. That'll give me a hole. About the size I want. I'll put the pastry in there a little at a time. And I'll just squeeze it off, and then I'll just get a little at a time. I think I'll be able to get a little bit. You know? Could have made that a little bigger probably. But we'll give it a shot. Okay. Clean up my work area. Get ready to go here. There's my pastry bag. Homemade pastry bag. Alright, here comes the pie. Got a little bit cold out in the freezer. It's nice and thick and heavy. Look at that. Beautiful. Here comes the pie filling. Where is it? There it is. Well, I could have made this my pastry bag. I still might, by golly. Yeah, buddy, that'll be even cheaper. That's a nice, heavy bag, too. Okay. Yeah, I'll make this my pastry bag. Alright. Squeeze the sun down, get it out of the top of there. Nice and cold now, a little bit thicker. That means it'll spread better. I'll soak into that. Alright, make a nice opening right there. Actually, I wanted to do that all the way across, because that's how I wanted to do the bag. Alright, now that'll come right out of there and I can see what's going on. I want to cut it back like that. We're going to just go in the middle with this and spread out from there. That'll be the best way to do it. I have found that just like spreading, if you're working with pizza, you want to just dump all your stuff in the middle and spread it out. Your cheese, your sauce, all like that. Your meat. Put it all in the middle and then spread it out evenly around. That's how all the pie makers do it. Most of them. Except of course, maybe some of your bell pepper pieces and your sausage. Still can't believe I'm in here working without any of my music. Come on up there now. I want to get as much out of this as I possibly can. It's going to get all over my fingers, but the reason I want to do that because I don't want this mix here to bind too much with my whipped cream, cause it to thin out. Of course, I don't know why I would do that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. This out of the way. Okay, now let's get our tool. spread this out. Okay, we'll just use the one we used to spread the cheesecake. I'm just going to go from the middle, go out to the border where the cheesecake is, where the cheese is. Now I'm going to leave that open because I'm going to use that for the whipped cream border that I'm going to try to apply. That little gap right there. This is my stroke that I use when I'm just starting a canvas and I want to put a wet layer down to the base layer of white to prime the canvas. So I'll just use the stroke right here to get the same thickness all across the canvas. That way when I put the paint, it will apply and mix it into that layer the way I want it to, or lay on it, whatever you do with it. I used to enjoy oil painting till my shoulders, until the operation to my shoulders. Now it's hard for me to hold my arms up like that all day trying to, especially on something that's real intricate that you want to get accurate. And you don't want to have a shaky hand. But cooking is more simple. I really enjoy kneading bread. That helps with my arm and hand therapy. I might sound like an old man, don't I? I guess I am at 64. I wish I could shut up. Alright. Okay, now we see this cherry filling has gone on there really smoothly. Already a delicious pie no matter how you look at it. But now we're going to apply our whipped cream on top. I could just pile it on and that would be okay too, and I might wind up doing that, but I just want to try this homemade deal right here. I'm going to try this pie bag first because I like it. It's a little bit bigger. I got the top cut. And all I really have to do is just go out this corner right here. So I'm going to leave it on while I'm packing it. And I'll cut it when I get it done. It's going to get it all over me because I'm going to use my hands. Nothing I can do about it. Okay, so I'm just going to fill this up. Come on, man. Don't waste the cream. Alright. Oh, I'm getting out of the camera. I know I am. Let's see. I'm just filling this bag with this whipped cream here. I mixed up. Okay. So what are you doing that for? I'm going to come down here. I'm going to cut the bottom of this right here. I know that hole's probably way too big, but I couldn't see it real good. And I'm just going to come up here, grab a hold of this, and I am going to waste it. But it's coming out. Look at that. That was a simple waste. But you know, you live and you learn. This is how you learn cooking right here, man. This is how you learn right here. Just getting in here and trying it, making mistakes. But even mistakes are delicious. Because it's going to be really good. The way that cherry is mixed in with that whipped cream in the bag. I won't be able to finish it, but I'll make it alright. I don't want to waste too much of that. The life of the diabetic. Oh man, my doctor ever caught a glimpse of this video right here, he'd say, "What's the use? Might as well give up on this guy." He would probably. I'm ashamed. I love making this kind of food for some reason. I just love making desserts and baking and stuff.
Because it's a little more difficult than just regular cooking, you know, putting a hamburger on there. Even that can be difficult, you know. Got a lot of guys people that I subscribe to, but I'm finding out most of the best cooks in the world are men. Pretty much been experienced with all my life, and most of the best cooks I've ever known were men. I guess most women just don't want to. A lot of women don't want to spend all that time in the kitchen. Oh man, I hate to do this. This is incredibly stupid, kind of. Oh, it's a waste, but it's going to work. Get that back in there. Looks kind of nasty, but this is going to work. Watch this. Come on. Close that top off. As long as it's easier for it to get out the top, it ain't going to come out the bottom. It's looking, but it's a sweet mistake. Really is. It's a sweet mistake. Make some more. This is how I make funnel cake, just like that right there. I make a deal to just squirt it out of. I gotta get myself a pastry bag. I've been looking for one. I looked all over Walmart for one last week. I couldn't find one. I should get one online. I buy everything online. But just for some reason with baking stuff, I haven't gone on to my online, you know, Amazon and other places where I always buy everything that I want automotive. Well, this is turning into quite an ordeal here with this pastry bag. I should have just spooned it right out, which I'm going to finish up doing before I waste too much more of it. I don't like to waste heavy cream. That quart right there costs about $4.50. It's not something you want to just be throwing away, you know. And so now I'm going to just put the whipped cream on, draw it from the outsides, and bring it in and spread it on that good. It's going to accomplish the same thing that I was trying to do. I will get myself a good bag because this whipped cream will spread very easily. Real nice decoration. It's got a good flavor. Vanilla and the and the powdered sugar comes out. Look at that texture. It's just as good as any whipped cream you buy. So we're going to go ahead and spread this out. Bring it in from the edges so we're not, you know, pushing it out over our lockdown lid. It's already too far there. Pull that back in. Lovely mistakes. Okay, so we're just going to pull this in, spread that out. Not real fancy looking. I guess you could do a little better with a swirl or something. But brother, let me tell you, you are going to dig into this right here. Guaranteed. We're going to put it back in the refrigerator. Let it sit in there for a couple of hours. Let it set. Let the flavors marry. And then we're going to have to put a gun to our head to keep from committing suicide eating it. And that's that. Okay, so there is our Jell-O no-bake cherry cheesecake with our own homemade whipped cream and the pie filling made with heavy cream instead of milk, whole milk. And the whipped cream was made with 1 cup of whipping cream, 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Okay? There you go. GoPro, stop recording.